Colin Hawke, the South Canterbury referee, signals time on, kicks deep over the goal line. Greg Coffey, one of the stars of the All Black trials of a week and so ago, has taken the ball and touchdown for the dropout 22. We'll be watching these midfield backs, most of whom have been selected for Canterbury for the New Zealand 15 to play New Zealand universities and then Romania. There is another team to be selected to play Russia. That hasn't been done so yet. The drop out. Number 4 is Chris England, Mark McAtamaney. Mark McAtamaney, number 4 for Canterbury, and Chris England is number 5. It'll be a good matchup of Sianik and Sergeyev. Sergeyev, number 5 there. You should see the Russian number 5 is in actual fact 6 feet 7 inches tall, and he's up against Chris England. Mark McAtamaney and Chris England in the middle of the Canterbury line out. Of Siankov went high. Coffey's kicked deep. Waiting for it is Voropaev, who hustles it to touch, and immediately Canterbury, the red and blacks, go on to attack. The 5 arriving, Chris England. Yes, it's Mark McAtamaney up against Sergeyev.
Mark Canterbury! They did it on siren!
Knock on. No advantage. Canterbury ball just outside the 22. The park, as you can see here, Lancaster Park in Christchurch, in immaculate nick. Right on the 22 of the USSR. There's Penny, Rob Penny away, and strong inside the 22. Oh, a pass to nowhere. Cooperman, number 13 for the USSR, were being set up for a crunch from number 7, Dallas Seymour, whipping across. Canterbury have the put in yet again. Bishop, Canterbury halfback, who was in the tour to Argentina, retains his spot as the number 1. Penny off the back, a bad pass. Kicking and hacking ahead is Negodin, Vladimir Negodin, number 7 for Russia, who had a very good game after coming on for Marlborough midweek. Pick out some of these players for you. Murat Ambayev is number 6 for the Soviets. Number 8 there is Grizikov. Tichnikov, their great number 8, is not playing today. As Matt Sexton throws to the line. There's a battle between Andy Earle, who was number 6 for Canterbury, who's won her place after injury last year, back into the All Blacks to go to Argentina. Indecisive at this stage, early on in the first half. 10-metre line, USSR territory, no score. Bishkov, the Russian halfback, little fake. Bishop not fooled by that. Grizikov, number 8 for Russia, in trouble. He's holding up the might of the Canterbury forwards, but Bishop runs short side. Bishop still in pass to Mike Hanning. Penny again featuring with that pass off the deck. Bishop in good spot for the second phase. Coffey, Mornsell misses out, and Grant Wright runs straight on through. Andy Earle, that number 6 already in the first 2 minutes of play. We've seen 8 and 6 for Canterbury doing good things. Penley coming over the top, shaking his head, says Colin Hawke. You do not stand, you must stand on your feet going into those rucks and mauls. You cannot jump in over the top. The captain, number 1, Sergei Molchanov, shakes his head as he walks back, but this gives Penny a simple kick from right out in front with only 4 minutes gone, and he slots it. It's 3 points to 0. Coffey, the penalty.
The goal for Canterbury was hit by first 5/8 Greg Coffey.
3-0. It's been a little indecisive so far as the teams settle in. Glorious day here at Lancaster Park. As again, Boldikov, who's actually only had 1 game before coming to New Zealand, kicks off, and almost an action replay. Well, he could have played the first kick-off and the first touchdown. It's exactly the same, but Coffey goes to the short side, a little kick ahead. Mark Vincent following fast. But their star, Igor Mironov, takes it into touch. Midden off on the wing, left wing for the USSR, number 11. 3 points to 0. Quick throw in. Did it go the required distance? Yes, it did. Andrew McCormick's first run and getting through. Finally taken by Sergeyev. On the halfway line, Bishop again has a good gain. Beautiful hands, Coffey. Mark Vincent, 10-metre line. And Midenoff hustles Mark Vincent into touch. Vincent, who's missed last season because of a bad hand injury, back in the team, the Canterbury first squad this year. Bishop again, getting a lot of ball, our Canterbury. Nguye goes stew low. Good ball. Coffey, super pass. McCormick, Maunsell misses out Mark Wright. The pass goes nowhere. On the halfway line, in goes Boldikov and Cooperman for the USSR, 10 and 13. Canterbury ball going forward. If there is a surprise, I guess, in the selections today, the All Black to Argentina, Shane Philpott, is on the bench for Canterbury. Not included in the number 1 team. He spent a little bit of time on the bench in the last couple of seasons as Philpott, but retains his place in the team. Bishop to the scrum on the 10-metre line. Bishop running with Penny 8 inside him. Penny now, Butte pass to Mike Hanning. And away goes Zakaliuk, the fullback for the USSR, running from, this is dangerous stuff. Midenoff has it now. Running, trying to run the ball out of trouble and getting into trouble. Out to the 22, or nearly. Number 5 helping out is Sergeyev. Maunsell. Matt Sexton, number 2. Bishop has ball again. The Russians have won nothing. Coffey shows it. Dummies, kicks, Vincent through, and scoring. Oh, it's Mark Vincent's try, but it was Coffey's little touch of class that gave it to him. Beautiful try, Mark Vincent, all made by Greg Coffey. Watch this. Dummies, one hand, shows it to McCormick. Half a dummy again, sees the gap, the perfect side foot kick, and the ball bouncing end on end for Mark Vincent to sprint around between the sticks for try number 1 after 7.5 minutes play, and Canterbury go out to 7 points to 0 with this try. Coffey, the easiest of kicks. The result is good, and it's 9 points to 0 as Greg Coffey made the try, kicked the conversion, he's kicked a penalty. It's 9 to 0. Canterbury over the USSR. Super stuff from Coffey. So for the third time in 7 or 8 minutes, Boldikov kicks off from halfway. This time it's the try scorer, Mark Vincent, who touches down. Well, a lot of people are predicting a 70 to 0 romp. I think Duncan Dysart, the former Waikato coach who has control of the USSR team on tour, said unless they tidy up their act, they're going to get rolled by this very classy provincial unit. We'll see. It's 9 points to 0 to Canterbury at the moment. That was a nice pass by Mark McAtamaney, the lock, back to Coffey on his left foot as Bishkov followed through the halfback. Last year, the USSR toured Australia, had a terrible time out there. 2 games of 6 they won. They have it this time. Ovsianik, Sergei Ovsianik, number 4, got ball for them. Now they're spinning it. That's Siganov, but Cooperman couldn't hold the pass. Huge form there, number 5 of Sergeyev. 2 meters tall, 6 feet 7 inches in the old measurements. Again, Penny, who's had a really good start. Been in everything. The hand went in there to try and scrape the ball back from the USSR. Colin Hawke again says you must keep on your feet. You cannot dive into those rucks. And that warning to Vladimir Negodin as the Canterbury side come away messy. Vincent's in there, Mark Wright, Grant Wright, the Canterbury fullback. Bishop's kick ahead. Again, Zakaliuk took the ball but kicked it absolutely nowhere, which again gives Mark Vincent a touch of the ball. For a wing three-quarter, he's handled an enormous amount early on. They're on the halfway line, tidied up by Mironov. As Canterbury again go in to win more possession. Which they do. No, it's coming the USSR side. Bishkov, Boldakov, missing out Zaganov to Cooperman. Cooperman's kick. It's a good long kick, but he's kicked it just a fraction too far. It didn't work for him that time, and Grant Wright touches down. Well, you must admit that the touchdowns, even from kickoffs and kick through, have been in the USSR's favour, but the only time that the kick has gone across the goal line for Canterbury was when Coffey set up Mark Vincent for the try. Man in front. Well, Canterbury had a man in front from the dropout, so they come back to a scrum right in the middle, and rush is put in. No doubt that Canterbury, a First Division unit, and as good as they are, have the weight and the power and the technique in the scrums. Again, it's back to Boldakov, and Boldakov hits it sweetly, and there's points on the board for the USSR. Boldakov got the pass from Bishkov, the halfback, and he's goaled from the drop kick. It's 9-3 after 12 minutes of play. Coffey again kicks out, dropping beautifully on the spot, but taken in there by Ovsianik for the USSR. Coffey again, classy player, beautifully balanced as he cuts back in. Gives it to Dallas Seymour. Both those players, Greg Coffey and Dallas Seymour, are in the New Zealand 15 to play next Wednesday and again next Sunday against Romania. Well, the USSR have said this is a big learning curve for them, and as much as being taught on the field, the referees are telling them what they can and cannot do as well. Bishop runs, McCormick misses out, Penny again, number 8, and up to the 22-metre line. Swinging out to Mark McCormick. And again, Mike Hanning, number 11, features for Canterbury. Scrambled into touch. Would you just get the impression that the pressure's on now? Canterbury taking it to the Russians. Led admirably by number 8, Rob Penny. And that's the position they're in. Midway, 22, and the goal line in the USSR territory. On Canterbury. There's been a knock on in there. Maybe not straight anyway. No advantage accruing to anyone, so the USSR get the ball. Bishkov. Oh, he throws it back to Boldakov, who can't hang on to it that time, as Bishop hustles onto him. I think Boldakov thought he just dropped the ball but hadn't knocked it forward. Not so, said Colin Hawke. The ball did go marginally forward. And so now, 5 metres out, Bishop has the ball to the Canterbury scrum. They lead by 9 points to 3. And Rob Penny on the shove towards the line. The Canterbury scrum is far too good as a unit. It's over the line and, well, remarkably, Penny overran the ball. He was a little bit too far. Decided not to have a crack at the ball with his hands until it was over the line, and managed to get himself in front of the ball and caught and wedged between his legs. No try. Bread and butter to Zinzan Brook, that sort of stuff, but he didn't manage to get his hands yet. He could have actually reached back, I guess, and put his hand on the ball. Downward pressure was all he needed on one hand, but he didn't do that. And so Canterbury denied a try, but have a good setup for possibly yet another. Well, a little frustration from the back row and the USSR as the scrum hasn't gone down, so they gave a little shove forward. Set. 5 metres out. Bishop to the scrum. What will Penny do this time? Yes, he's controlling it again. Number 8, Rob Penny in the back, and skillfully too. And Earl has a crack, gets it down and gets rushed. Yes, he did get it down. Number 6, Andy Earl scores the try. That was interesting. Andy Earl came around from the other side, picked the ball up. Penny was with him. Penny gave him a bit of a shove. He touched it down there, then got thrown back, but he'd already depressed the ball. Coffey from wide out, trying to add the extra points. And this man really can do no wrong. He is the superb all-rounder, Greg Coffey. 2 tries, he's converted both of them, kicked a penalty, made the first try. It's 15 points to 3, Canterbury over the USSR, and there's just over 15 minutes gone. Baldikoff out to the left again. Bishop up to the 22. Looking for Penny on his shoulder yet again.
On Canterbury.
What's Colin Hawke going to rule this time? Well, a little bit of argy-bargy there. The fact was that number 7, Vladimir Negodin, was actually hanging on. And this is what we're saying about the learning curve, that not only are they learning technique on the field from the opposing players, but they are being told what refereeing is all about in this part of the world. And to be fair, a lot of the European referees are allowing players to dive in and jump into rucks and mauls, not so down here in the South Pacific. That was a lovely palm by Umbayev, number 6 for USSR. Russia have control of it. It's bad ball for Bishkov, and he's being held back by Dallas Seymour, I think it was. Here Seymour, number 7, climbs off the deck, and he's penalised for, you can see a little jersey holding there. Bishkov couldn't get that arm free, Dallas Seymour. And it's a line astern as the Russians rush after this ball over the 10-metre line in Canterbury territory. Bishkov, Baldikoff, missing out Ziganov, that's Cooperman. Cooperman's punched back in a tackle from Dallas Seymour. But Russia comes up with it again. Mironov, their classy wing 3/4. Mironov! Yes, he outstrips Chris England, number 5, to score the try for the USSR. Well, he had a couple against Nelson Bays, and he scored again today. He's their most experienced player. Mironov, number 11, goes right. Number 8, Rob Penny. One of his rare mistakes is beaten. Chris England hasn't got the legs. Igor Mironov goes in, 10 metres in from the touchline to score the USSR's first try. Baldikoff from wide out, trying to add the extra points. Nearly 20 minutes gone in the game. Number 10, Baldikoff, hits it extremely well. And yes, he's goal. And that's a good try and a good reply from the USSR. It's back to 15 points to 9 in favour of Canterbury. Baldikoff, a real junior on this tour, having played only one game before hitting the shores of New Zealand. Coffey kicks out, dropping just over the 10-metre line. Palm back by Seymour. Number 3 is Chris Earl. This is Andrew McCormick. Crunched over in a tackle by Ziganov. Very classy Canterbury backline with the All Black captain and New Zealand 15 players out wide with Coffey, McCormick and Maunsell. It is a real classy unit out wide. Total control, though, as Canterbury handle the ball. Umbayev a little frustrated, fringing round the area, the side there, as Andy Earl takes the ball away for Canterbury. Again, beautiful second phase. Coffey swings into his pass. Maunsell, mark right. Or was that head high? Was that head high from Ziganov? Was it Cooperman? As Mark Vincent cuts back, and yes, it was, says the referee. Mike Hanning, number 11 for Canterbury, whistling round on the left-hand side, was taken high. And there he is. Yeah, that was what it was for, Colin Hawke, warning the USSR team about head-high tackles. And Coffey again has a chance to put points on the board. 15 points to 9, Canterbury. No, they're 18 points to 9. Coffey goals, another penalty. Well, Canterbury at this stage with just over 20 minutes gone, out 18 points to 9, and you get the impression that the floodgates might open. They've got a tough end to their tour, this is their 3rd game, the USSR. They've got other first division sides and in New Zealand 15 yet to play. Bishop bangs it back for touch. Interestingly enough, when the USSR toured Australia last year and had a pretty hard time of it, won't happen today, but some of their players couldn't play the first match on the tour because actually they got very badly sunburned on their way down. No chance of that coming down to the Southern Hemisphere winter this time, as Melikov, number 2, the hooker, in a way, in a good running burst. And, well, there he goes again. Boldakov has another crack from a drop kick. No, just out to the right. It was good. He was in good position. It was a good attempt. Hit it well, but didn't quite make the posts that time. And it remains at 18 points to 9 to Canterbury. With Greg Coffey, who's done everything absolutely right today. That setting up of the first try by Mark Vincent was absolutely superb. Judgment, balance, right pressure on the kick, the whole deal. And Colin Hawke there is telling the USSR team to keep back behind the line of the last player in the ruck, in the maul. But if the Russians want to foot it in big-time rugby around the world, they must learn the absolute fundamentals of the rucks and the mauls and not get themselves A, offside, or collapse them, or dive in over the top. Coffey again. Kicks high. Well, it's gone into touch. I'm not sure that Greg Coffey actually wanted to do that, but it looked like an up and under that just swung into touch. And it's right on the halfway line. The USSR team resplendent in their bright red jerseys. They were playing in blue up until this point, but Canterbury, New Zealand have given them these bright red jerseys. And away comes Kabliekin, the prop. Evgeny Kabliekin. It was a good run by him. Now they swing it out left. That's Tsiganov. Tsiganov's kick actually hit Cooperman in the face. He tried to kick it in field. Number 13, Igor Cooperman, was in the way and actually came off the side of his face. So not great skills being exhibited at that point. They do look good in their bright red uniforms. USSR away again. Coffey, nice hands to McCormick, but also an equally good tackle by Umbayev for the USSR. The short side. Vincent again. Coffey kicking for Vincent. Well, he's got a kick to it, and again, scrambling and missing was Vodopeov. Penny, was that forward? Maunsell, Bashop on his way to the line. No, it was forward. Well, just at the last second, the second last pass was forward. As the USSR team now in defence again, as Canterbury come on to attack. Bishkov on his own 22. He loves that fake pass. Bashop's been around a heck of a long time. As Boldakov from the diving, Bashop manages to get that kick away just outside the 10-metre line. Sparse crowd here at Lancaster Park. And the touch judge is in. It was something he saw that we didn't. And we'll see who Colin Hawke pulls out from either side. You can see they're all waiting expectantly. No, he's actually signalled, he's talking to Graham Bashop. But no, he's considered that it wasn't a deed that warranted a penalty. So, in fact, he said, let's play the line out and get on with the game. No penalty accruing to either side from the information given to him by the touch judge. The gap between the line out, please, gentlemen. It's 25 minutes gone in the first half. Canterbury lead by 18 points to 9 and threatening to put more points on the ball. McCormick pass to Grant Wright, the fullback coming in. Again, the ball is there for Canterbury. Pushing forward. It's been a good go, actually, between the locking duos of England and McTamaney against Ovsianic and Sergeyev. Hard to know who's won it at the moment. Maunsell didn't look, passed right. The USSR can't make anything of it, and it's scrappy play. To be fair to Widamu Maunsell, he knew that Bashop was ranging up outside him. The pass was just a little strong. Bashop couldn't hook it in with one hand. Good understanding, though, between these Canterbury players. Have played a lot of games together. Bishkov waits. Baldercock's left foot this time. 18 points to 9. Matt Sexton has the ball. Referee Colin Hawke. The game has gone into a slow period here. But Greg Coffey has a chance to add points for Canterbury from that infringement and the line out. They lead by 18 points to 9. 28 minutes gone. Coffey from a long range and just drops the ball over the crossbar. And Coffey, well, this man really is on the verge of higher honours. 21 points to 9. He can kick, he can run, he's got all the skills. Balderkoff. He kicks deep, too deep. Good eye, Rob Penny. That was a good eye because it only went over the touchline by probably half a metre. It was travelling fairly fast, and so the scrum will take place. The option is another kick or a scrum. Now obviously Canterbury's call, taking the scrum right on the halfway line, right in the middle, Canterbury ball. Running, Penny again, linking with Bishop. That's right. Andy Earl won his place back in the All Black team, over the 22. With him, Dallas Seymour, he's in the New Zealand 15 without playing the trial. As the Canterbury forwards in control march towards the USSR line, led by Andy Earl in there. It's him that has the ball. You can see his head poking towards, looking at Graham Bishop as he gets a ton of support. Literally from the Canterbury pack as they push in. This is a long rolling maul as it rolls relentlessly towards the USSR goal line. Helping him in there, Chris Earl. Bishop waits, calls for it, gets it. Coffey, McCormick, right, over the top. Just can't take it, Mike Hanning. The pass was a little floated. Hanning was ahead of it. Knock on. Mike Hanning knocked the ball on as that ball was floated over to him. Well, twice. It was a forward pass a few minutes ago when the line looked wide open. Bishop actually got clear, but the pass had been forward, and that time the pass floated over. Mike Hanning just couldn't hook it in. But the relentless Canterbury pressure telling on the USSR now. 21 points to 9. USSR get the ball from their put in. Don't get a great distance from Bishkoff's kick to touch. About 10 minutes to the changeover. Sexton's throw to the line. Bishkoff's hustled by Sexton himself, coming around from the front of the line out after he'd thrown in. Had a good look and no one in front of him, so he got quickly onto Bishkoff. Yes, again, Canterbury, who've played most of the game down here, are pushing again into the danger area, inside the 22. And with these classy Canterbury backs, I think the next try won't be far in coming. Andy Earl again, taking good ball, and it'll be useful for the All Blacks. Coffey again shows the ball, whips it out to Wright, who gets through. Wright, he can score, but he doesn't decide to. He gives it to Vincent, who scored once, and Vincent gets his second try. Well, there was no doubt that after making the initial break, Grant Wright could have scored that try. Unselfishly, he gave it out to Vincent. Watch Coffey again. Fakes to McCormick. Goes right. Wright it is, who goes straight through two tackles, gets clear. I think he might have got caught by that, but he didn't. And in a tackle, he goes over. In the tackle of Midenoff, Vincent scores again. And Coffey from wide out, and he has missed this one. So Coffey, his kicking boots deserting him on that occasion. But Canterbury go out to 25 points to 9. Another super try. Vincent's got 2, and really Coffey had a lot to do with it. They were all looking at McCormick as he was coming through, but he faked to McCormick, gave it to Grant Wright. Grant made the initial break, could have scored himself, and Vincent dotted down for another 4. Man in front from the kickoff. Canterbury ball. A really superb unit, this Canterbury. They are going to be very tough in First Division this year, no question about that. Number 8, how many times have we seen that? Setting up the second phase. Superb ball for Basham. Maunsell has a lot to do from that position. He got it in a bad position with plenty of red around him. Messy stuff. The ball is hacked through by Canterbury. Zakaliuk has caught the Russian fullback. Well, a lot of scrappy play there from both teams. Zakaliuk, the fullback for Russia, likes to have a bit of a dab with the ball when he gets it. Try to run it out from his own goal line very early on in the game. That could have cost. Basham, the fake run. Penny's pass. McCormick on the left. And McCormick goes through without a hand being laid on him. The Canterbury captain today, Andrew McCormick, watch this. He got the ball from Penny and slid through a big gap on the short side. Bishkov got to him, but not quick enough. And Coffey will attempt again, as he has done in the last few minutes, to attempt a goal from wide out. And he does so, pushes the flags up. And Greg Coffey, gee, what a player. I've said it all day, but he really is one of the superb players in New Zealand rugby of them. He's got to be at his peak. Baldakoff again kicks left. McCormick with his left foot. Hoists it for touch. Shakes his head there, but it's in touch. And with the power and superiority of the Canterbury forwards, I don't think he's got too much to worry about. Midway, the 22 and the 10-metre line in Canterbury territory. And good take by Ovzianik in the centre of the Russian line-out. The ball laid back for Bishkov. Baldakov, the bounce to him. Baldakov's left foot kick, not a good one. Plenty of red and black there to protect the ball. Sexton tries to, McCormick was in there. Basham now. Basham, a little dab short side. The ball is knocked down as he tries to pass it inside. Mark McAtammany was number 4. Dallas Seymour, number 7. Good ball again. Coffey, the superb pop to Maunsell. Vincent's over on the left-hand side. Right. Right, brushes off tackle after tackle, does Right. In pass to Rob Penny, always there. This is a good passage of play. McCormick now. Right. Right's kick. And the ball goes out. Well, give credit to the Russians. They stopped the tide of the red and black advance. But at the end of it all, the Canterbury team are hard on attack in Russian territory yet again. USSR taken neatly by Ovzianik, number 4, in the front of the line-out. Baldakov has a bit of time as he's challenged by Dallas Seymour. And he hasn't found it. The ball is bounced infield for Mark Vincent to pick it up. That was a long kick. And he and Wright decide to go on a run, but he decides to miss out Wright and give it to Hanning, who kicks. And it's Hanning who puts the ball back into right on half-time in USSR territory. As they form up for the line-out, at that point, Colin Hawke again consults his watch. In fact, does signal for half-time. It's been Greg Coffey's half as they go to the break. USSR behind. Canterbury lead by 31 points to 9. Colin Hawke, the South Canterbury referee, signals the game is underway for the second 40 minutes of this First Division team Canterbury against the USSR on tour here in New Zealand. Up until now, the USSR have beaten Nelson Bays by 25 points to 24. Midweek they beat Marlborough by 23 to 16. And it's been Canterbury all the way in this game here at Lancaster Park in Christchurch, as again, straight through on to number 14, Vodopayev was Mark McAtammany. So it's 31 points to 9. As we go into the second 40-minute stanza of this game, the Russians up against it today. Let's call this the first test. they have what we'll call a test against a New Zealand 15 in a couple of weeks' time. There's Coffey. McCormick. In was Mark Vincent, who scored 2 tries in the first half. And again, immediately, in the first minute of play in the second half, Canterbury running rampant. Coffey. Mike Hanning goes wide, and in the first minute of play in the second half, Mike Hanning, who was threatening all the first half, dropped a chance, has actually scored very early on in the second half. It's Coffey's pass to Mike Hanning, who's come in from the other wing. He's come in close to Bishop and scored the try. It's 37 points to 9. So both the wingers have scored. Mark Vincent's got a couple. Now Mike Hanning's got one. Oh, beautifully taken by Chris England, number 5 for Canterbury. And there's Bishop. He did so well in the All Black trials. A little nudge ahead on the short side, and it's got the Russians in trouble. As the Canterbury maul forms, almost like a scrum in their precision, Andy Earle, who was such a force, a potent force in the first half. Bishop to Coffey's hands are brilliant. Maunsell, McCormick, basketball pass to right, caught by Bishkov and Boldakov. Well, looked like a penalty, didn't it? Whoops. Andy Earle, well, that was silly stuff. Andy Earle and Vladimir Nagodin in a bit of a punch-up, and finally the penalty was actually for the Russians coming around offside, and then a little altercation occurred between Nagodin and Andy Earle, but I think the penalty was already on. Now Canterbury, who with Coffey could easily goal from there, decided to, and this is Dallas Seymour. He scored a couple for South Canterbury. Did Dallas Seymour? Is he going to score another one right now? Yes, he is. Beautiful try from the New Zealand 15 representative, Dallas Seymour. Didn't play the trial, has made the New Zealand 15. He scored a hat-trick against South Canterbury just a couple of weeks ago. Now watch this. A planned move that yields them probably 6 instead of 3. Seymour still going over the 22. 1, 2, 3 tackles at this point. He beats the 4th tackler. Zakaliev tries to get at him, and the number 8, Grizikov, is away from as Seymour goes across the line. It's 43 points to 9 to Canterbury. Well, they've opened the floodgates. 2 tries in quick succession in the second half, and Canterbury rampant now. Just on the Canterbury side of halfway, but again, the Canterbury unit in absolute control, and Ombayev, number 6 for the USSR, fringing as he did in the first half, and Canterbury just marching the USSR team back with ease as they get to the halfway line, and the penalty is gone. The referee, Colin Hawke, waiting for some advantage, and again he's saying you must not pull these mauls down. You must go in on your feet. Quick ball. Bishop, Rob Penny, one of the 2 stars of the game in the forwards, the other being Andy Earle. And again, the total control of the Red and Blacks. The rolling maul just inside the USSR half. Bishop's had an armchair ride today with ball like this. He gets it again. The short side, a lovely pass to McCormick, slicing straight through. Not a bad pass as one arm was held. And look at that. That was Greg Coffey. It was forward, that pass from McCormick. But did you see Coffey? With his left hand, he flicked it back whilst it was bouncing on the ground. Absolute immaculate skills. And if there are stars in New Zealand rugby at the moment, they would probably be, and from the trials, it'd be Coffey, maybe Ernie Clark, Adams, and Greg Coffey. Super player. Greg Coffey, incidentally, was the player through Sky who Stu Wilson, when he was here talking to us about the trials, put as his number 1 player from the whole of the trials. And you can see why today. Number 4, again, Obzianik for Russia, getting ball. They're big fellas in the middle of the Russian line-out. At the moment, maybe a slight advantage against England and McAtammany in the line-out phase of this game. Well, it was Russian ball to the line, and Bishop, a bit of a fumble. He kicked it deep into the in goal, just outside the goal line. Just hanging up there. The Russians reply with a good kick to touch. Well, we were just having a bit of a look at the crowd as that ball was thrown into the lineout, and the Russians are trying something now. And there's Bishkov back into the forwards. Kabliakin, who had a good run earlier on in the first half. Boldakov, Sigarov. This is Kuperman. And away goes the captain, Molchanov, number 1. Not much joy there when you run up against Rob Penny, number 8 for Canterbury. Well, the Russians are controlling it this time. They have it, and they have it cleanly. And this is a good little phase of play as the rolling maul this time goes the USSR way. A long period with the ball is of Zianik, number 4. He is the man with the ball. He's let it go now. Well, they're not going that far forward as Bishkov runs on the right-hand side. A terrible pass. Voropayev finally got the ball, but he had knocked it on. An appreciative crowd here at Lancaster Park. At least the USSR are trying the sorts of things that are just kindergarten stuff really to New Zealand sides, but learning all the time. And you'd have to say their mauling in the second half is miles better than their first half performance. Duncan Dysart, the former Waikato coach and now coaching coordinator for Bay of Plenty, on commission from the New Zealand Rugby Football Union, is taking the USSR team through New Zealand for these 7 games. And it's stuff like that that he's imparting to them, and we saw before the game, this game, actually in the car park in the morning, teaching them some of the basics of mauling technique and line-out jumping. This time the penalty goes against Canterbury. Bishkov. Free kick, was it? Well, not a lot of commitment going on. Imagine what Steve McDowell would have done with that ball. Running the right-hand side now. Negodin, number 7. And number 6 are the Lucies, Umbayev and Negodin, but it's out to Canterbury. This is Vincent, who scored 2 tries already. Deceptive. Shoves Ziganov out of the way. Again, Dallas Seymour turning. Rob Penny there again for the 50th time today. Coffey, McCormick, Wright, Mike Hanning. That looked a little high too. I thought, well, going in over the top again, you can see Colin Hawke, they must learn, if they're not to be whistled out of these future games that the USSR, they would become a potent force in world rugby with a little bit of backing. They have a sponsorship for this tour. Now, Coffey could goal this with ease, no question about it. But at 43 points to 9, Canterbury want a 6-pointer and also to make the game more entertaining. Bishop does take the ball this time. Remember, Seymour scored from it last time. And there's Widdamu getting dumped. Rob Penny again leading the charge, taking the ball. Bishop short side. Vincent in passes. Andy Earl. This is Andy Earl towards the goal line. And Andy Earl, the All Black, gets a try. He scored 2 as well, remember? Just got it over the line in the first half. Now watch for Andy Earl here. It was good from Mark Vincent. He scored 2. Bounces it. Andy Earl picks up the bouncing ball skillfully, goes through 2 weak tackles and scores comfortably about 12 metres in from the right-hand touch. Vincent 2, Earl 2, Coffey's got a bundle, and he gets more. Coffey goals from Earl's try, and it's 49 points to 9, and Coffey has been the influence on this game. Boldakov kicks deep. I love $1 for every time Greg Coffey's handled the ball today. It's a good kick. It is fumbled by Zakaliuk, the USSR fullback. And again, as the sun gets very low here at Lancaster Park, you can't blame the sun because Zakaliuk got it at his back. Well, sucked in was Umbayev that time, and away go Canterbury again. Bishop ran a dummy run. He didn't have the ball. Zakalia for Bishkov now inside their own 22, and quite rightly Igor Kuperman decides to tidy it up. Bishop ran wide. Murat Umbayev was totally sucked in by it. The ball was elsewhere. Well, the Canterbury team are definitely making this a spectacle for the moderate to average crowd. Jumping across the line, the Canterbury players. I think he pointed at Chris England, but it could have been any one of a couple there. Doesn't really matter because Baldikov comes up now. Just on 14 minutes gone in the game, Baldikov kicks for touch and finds it. Right, on the 22, the USSR team moving forward. But Canterbury come away, and Bishop again with his darting, diving runs to Coffey, in pass, well tackled. Bishkov, the short side now. Away come the USSR. This is better play from them. And the number 8, Ogryzikov, nearly there, the USSR. They split the Canterbury defence wide open with a good run. USSR pushing. This is their best phase of play in the whole game. They're over the goal line. 5-metre scrum, USSR put in going forward. Well, that was an excellent phase of play from the USSR team. They're down by 49 points to 9. They'll desperately want to score a try here. Mironov has already scored one for them, and that was a cracker where he beat players on the right-hand side. We'll see if Mironov comes in this time. We're watching Vodopeyev, number 14, out to the right. If Bishkov decides to go the short side, Ogryzikov gets there by himself. Super try, well worked. Let's watch this again. Now we're getting shoved backwards. He's a huge guy. Alexander Ogryzikov goes through Penny's tackle, and significant that Penny was there, but not in time to stop the big man. So Ogryzikov gets the try. It's Baldikov that will attempt to add the 2 points. So the USSR have scored a couple of tries, not bad ones either. Well, he waited. McCormick nearly got to him, but this guy can kick. Baldikov can kick goals, there's no question about that. And the wealth of kickers worldwide is increased by Baldikov as Canterbury goes out to 49 to 15. Baldikov's first big test, a real junior coming into this tour. Handles almost immediately, gets the ball knocked away from him. That was number 15, Zakaliuk, who actually made a good run in the movement leading up to the try a moment ago. Matt Sexton. 49 to 15. There's absolutely no chance that Russia can win it. It'll just be how well they play in their last phases of this game. You could see it, I could see it. Big hand went out there. Maybe the ball was out, so certainly Colin Hawke was unsighted. Dallas Seymour, number 7. Again, ball short side. Coffey's beautiful little chip into the gap. Does it bounce for Vincent almost? The try scorer, Ogryzikov, takes it into touch. Shortened line out. On the 22 of the USSR. Canterbury gets the ball. Bishop. He's rushed there. They're standing off. Andy Ewell doesn't get his own way this time. He's taken over by Ogryzikov. In fact, it's good USSR ball, but in a bad position on the field. No way round there, sunshine. As Bishkov is taken heavily, they retain the ball and move forward. Bishkov again. Baldikov. In pass to Nagodin. It's pretty scrappy. They just can't get the set piece set up for them to run the platform from. And again, the touch judge is in. He was in before in the first half. On that occasion, Colin Hawke, the referee, decided to do nothing more about it. We'll see what he does this time. Now he's walking over to the USSR side. calling out somebody. Pushing the Canterbury players out of the way, and the warning is to Nagoden, the number 7, and the penalty goes to Canterbury. Well, Coffey hasn't been taking the kicks up until this point from penalties. They've been deciding to run it, and he decides to put up the bomb. Beautiful kick. McCormick's in the van for Canterbury, and Maunsell just swept ahead of McCormick and dived over and took the ball as Zakaliuk should have gone high for it, but what a kick from Coffey, right on the button. There's McCormick, number 13 is Maunsell. Zakaliuk waits, but he didn't jump for it. And Maunsell went underneath him. Coffey kicks the 2 points, and Canterbury have shot out to 55 points to 15. Zakaliuk, first rule of a good fullback and a high ball, you have to jump for it. He didn't. Seymour did, and scored a brilliant try. But it was Coffey's kick, this man. In passing now to Andrew McCormick, the captain. Running is Stulo, number 1 for Canterbury. Away goes Andy Earl. Again, Coffey. Whoops. Gee, count Coffey's mistakes on one hand today, and he just had the ball in one hand and got it knocked clear from him. One mistake out of 25 great things he's done today. I'll go with him. Be lovely to see Coffey set up behind the All Black pack with the time, space and good ball that the All Black pack give to Bishop. Really fine play. All right, let's get back to the game. The USSR. It's 20 minutes gone. Bishkov, short side. Beautiful little in pass to Mironov, who scored a try already. Just out from the goal line. It's not finished yet as Grizikov, the number 8, punches towards the line. He scored a try too. Yes, the ball's Malikov, the hooker, trying to charge over as Kabliakin, the prop, number 3. They meet the red and black wall, but they're running now. Another bad pass, and oh, the Russians will rue this. That was a delightful scoring opportunity. 3, 4 batters they had at Canterbury. But these are simple and fundamental mistakes they're making. The ball was beautiful ball, and the pass was dropped. So Canterbury get the put in. The arm out is to warn. Oh, beautiful take from Vincent, who scored 2, back to Bishop. The arm out from Colin Hawke was to warn the USSR players to keep back and not get offside. Quick throw into Andy Earl. This is a good period of play as Stulo goes towards the line. Number 5 is Chris England. Charging towards the goal line. Rob Penny, and Penny's over. What a player. Rob Penny scores in the second half for Canterbury.
And this time the try goes to number 8, Rob Penny.
It was all made by the tight 5. As they push up towards the goal line. But who's there again? As he's been all day, Rob Penny, and some ineffectual tackling from the backs. Zakaliov and Igor Mironov couldn't stop the charging Rob Penny. Greg Coffey adds the extra 2. It's a romp now, 61 points to 15, Canterbury lead. Baldikov. It's been the pattern all day. I think Coffey's taken, apart from one, he's taken every kick off. Shows the ball twice, then gives it to Maunsell. Maunsell swamped as they get to the 22. To be fair, I suppose it's easy for Coffey to shine against a team like this, but he does have those natural skills, and those passes are beautifully delivered. McCormick back to Bishop. Penny. Vincent. Has Vincent got the legs? He goes round Zakaliuk, and he goes round the Vodopayev, and Vincent gets a hat-trick. Sheer pace from the man who missed a season last year because of a serious hand injury. Goes right around 2 players, Vodopayev and Zakaliuk. Coffey adds the points,
Number 9 for Greg Coffey.
and it's 67 to 15. Well, I think Duncan Dysart was saying that unless they tighten up in just about every phase of play, it could be a 70-point romp. They're just about there. USSR away again. Melikov, the hooker. They're down by a bundle. Melikov again. Thrust back by the Canterbury forwards going in. Vincent, 3 tries today. Andy Earl's got a couple. Well, considering the teams they're up against later on, you know, I mean, Otago and Taranaki, they'll be as good, well, certainly Otago will be as good as this Canterbury unit. And of course, the New Zealand 15, well, it went on the USSR side and then came back Canterbury. Monsell from Coffey. Again, Grant Wright, the number 15, the fullbacks had a lot to do. Monsell, Coffey, another super pass to McCormick. Back to Monsell. Monsell drops it. Well, if John Preston plays for the New Zealand 15 against the USSR, or maybe Varsities or the Romanian 15, that'll be a full Canterbury backline. It could be Preston, Coffey, McCormick and Monsell for a New Zealand 15 against the touring side. Well, Canterbury have shown they want to run it from everywhere. Keeping that ball in was Vincent. That's his little kick ahead. And the USSR too. On their 10-metre line, they're well behind at 67 to 15, but they've got the ball at the moment. They're rolling ball up to the halfway line. Just a little indecisive in these phases of what they want to do with it. Ovsianic, number 4. Well, that was David and Goliath. That was England against Bishkov. Bishkov thought he'd been taken off the ball. USSR. And that was the try score. Grizikov, but they're really going nowhere. They're getting a little bit of territory. And again, the third time the touch judge is in. I think he might be going to talk about the way Bishkov was hampered by England. Bishkov took a whack at him, and that may be what the touch judge is talking about. I got the impression, though, that Colin Hawke saw that. Who's he going to speak to? Bishop's coming over, and he is talking to Bishkov. Yes, he said, but hang on, he stopped me. So he's going to talk to England, is he?
The Soviet Union received the fullback, Alexander Zakuliak, replaced by number 19, Vitaly Sorokin.
So replacement, Vitaly Sorokin is in. In fact, I think we're going to have 2 replacements. That limping off badly there, Vladimir Nagodin, and he's going to be replaced by the star of the USSR team, Alexander Nichikov.
Come on, Canterbury! Bullshit, come on!
So 2 replacements there. Sorokin comes on for Zakaliuk at full back, and there he is, the big boy, Tichnikov, number 18, and he really is a super player. Well, Mark Vincent, for wing 3/4 who can go a full game almost without touching the ball, Mark Vincent, number 14 for Canterbury's had a heck of a lot to do in this game, and he's scored 3 tries. He's made work for himself all over the paddock by chiming into the back line, as is Mike Hanning, number 11, the other wing 3/4 for Canterbury. So Tichnikov's on now. We'll see if that makes any difference. There he is. First touch of the ball as Tichnikov goes through. Ducking and diving into that. Baldakov. There's Kuberman. Oh, solid tackling from the Canterbury players. Too many times the ball goes to nowhere. So Rob Penny hacks the ball ahead. Great for Canterbury. Definitely one of the stars. Coffey. Andy Earl, Rob Penny, stars of the Canterbury performance today. Along the back line again. Out to Vincent, scored 3. Geez, had a lot of possession, as has Grant Wright, number 15, the fullback for Canterbury. He's made work for himself, as have the wing three-quarters, going places that you wouldn't expect them to pop up. Keep back, says Colin Hawke. That's not for the scrum. In fact, the penalty goes Canterbury's way. They're fringing up almost offside, are the USSR backs. I don't think Coffey's taken a penalty in the last 40 minutes, and he's not going to again, taking a shot at goal, that is. As Andy Earl, not back 10 metres, as Andy Earl thrusts up towards the 22. Bashop, the short one to himself. Crunching through is Chris England, number 5. Lost possession as Midenoff tries to pick it up. Fumbles it a couple of times, and even makes a hash of kicking it into touch. Well, it's good that the Romanian side and the USSR side can tour the bastion of rugby in the world, New Zealand, and learn, because the game will benefit from teams like this and players like this gaining huge experience. Maunsell, McCormick, Mark Vincent was in there, Coffey. Again, the beautiful, well, it bounced to McCormick, but the way he swings his hips into those passes, delivers them beautifully. It's the last time I'll mention and single out Coffey today. There are other players on the field. It's a 15-man game. Coffey tries to get through the gap. Number 8, Rob Penny, scored just a little while ago. About 8 minutes remaining. As Chris Earl, number 3, takes it towards the goal line. Desperate defence by the USSR now. Coffey's pass to the right to McCormick. Gets involved with Grant Wright, who can't get it down. Well, Grant Wright was over the line in a dive, but got rolled over very, very well indeed by Midenoff, number 11. So twice. Remember, Rob Penny was over the line and got it caught between his legs, and now Grant Wright got over, but couldn't get it down. But Canterbury really hot on attack here as the big shove goes in from the engine room boys, deep in that Canterbury scrum. Penny dives, gets a second. Good, solid, build-up play. Bishkov, the number 9, tried to stop him, but Rob Penny gets a couple. Watch this, controls it. Butte body position, ball down. Ogrizikov and Bishkov went in after him, but he was too strong, dived in too low. And Coffey now kicks the goal. Yes, he does. So Coffey adds the points from Rob Penny's second try. It's 73 points to 15. It beats Canterbury's all-time record against an international side, a total which they got against Fiji. It beats that easily, so 73 to 15. They're going to run it. Why kick it for touch? Well, may have been a touch kick from Andrew McCormick off his left foot, but it certainly hasn't made it. Midenoff leaves it behind, but it had gone forward. Well, they haven't had many shots at goal. I think I recall in Australia they got 4 kicks over in the whole 6 matches. It was a dreadful time for them in Australia. In fact, they only scored 14 tries in Australia. They had 24 against them in 6 matches. Running again. The Butte double around by Coffey. Again delivered on a platter to Andrew McCormick. McCormick's left foot kick over the top of Vodapeyev, number 14. It's scrambled out in front of the goal line. Plenty of Canterbury players arriving in bulk at pace as they push towards. There's tons of control. Dallas Seymour in there, number 7, waiting for maybe the pass that will give him a try. They're over the line and indecisive. Well, Seymour was there, wasn't he? Rob Penny was with him, and also Andy Earl, number 6, Andy Earl, and Dallas Seymour, the 2 Lucies, were over together. Got the impression that Andy Earl went over on his back, though, with the ball trapped on his stomach, and Seymour on top of him. Bashop to the right. Coffey, McCormick. Oh, beautiful intercept. Here's Vodapeyev. Midenoff got the legs. Midenoff has already try. No, he hasn't got the legs. Mike Henning will get him easily in the finish. In fact, he didn't even make the 22. Their speedster. It was a super interception. Watch this. He was in the right place at the right time, mid and off. But Mike Henning had sensed the trouble and was up to steam by the time mid and off. In fact, they just got over the 10-metre line before Henning got him and hauled him in quite easily. Well, they don't have any real speedsters. It's 73 points to 15, and time has run out for the USSR. This could be the last scrum, as the USSR have a last fling. A Grizikov, the number 8. Bishkov desperately wants it, so much so, in fact, he's right in the middle. But Basher comes away. His short side running is quite superb. Vincent was right on the touchline and, in fact, was out, as Baldikov has the ball in his hands. He was in touch. Colin Hawke looking at his watch. That's it. It's all over. 73 to 15. Well, they've got a midweek game against Mid-Canterbury. Then they play Otago next Saturday. Then a midweek game against Taranaki. And the New Zealand 15 at Hamilton is their final game. 73 to 15.